I did not really believe in EG this offseason. However, almost everyone else seemed to. Everyone was talking about how EG was the sleeper team to think about, and yet they have nothing to show for it. In 2 days, they will play against Loud and have a chance to go out of kickoff winless, only winning a single map against Envy. I get that you may not expect them to beat Sentinels, but Envy in their first ever Tier 1 match is a matchup that I think a lot of people expected EG to win. In this video, we're going to go over the map 3 of that and how it has fallen apart for EG, this team that had so much potential on paper, and why they're not producing. I'm trying to hit 10k before my birthday in like 45 or 44 days, so please hit that subscribe button, it would mean a ton, and let's get into it. Now, EG need to win this round, and honestly, the buy is pretty light from Envy, right? You've got 2 Marshals, you've got Stingers and Bulldogs, so you should be able to take this one out, even though Calm does also have a Stinger. But I want you to notice the first thing that they do here. First of all, Inspire just gets this smoke, tries to see if it's a fast A hit, if he can do something while playing in the smoke, but watch what happens here from EG on this B long push. As they scale up, right, and I triple check this is Inspire's smoke. Then Bao, I believe it's pronounced Bao. I've gotten flamed on TikTok for pronouncing it incorrectly when I made TikToks. I don't know. I'm going with Bao. If that's wrong, I apologize. Bao smokes off his team's own B main push here. Now, this is to deny info, but I also think it's pretty obvious that it's to deny info if it's literally a brim smoke in your face. I don't think there's reasonably anything on the side of Envy that makes them think, okay, they're not here. In fact, you can see they keep their A stack because they know there's no way you're smoking off your own push unless you're coming for some tomfoolery. It's to deny information, make us try and use util to reclear B long. Then, as expected by Envy, you can see Sky is also heading over. Because of that, they're coming back over towards the A-bomb site. But wait, because he used that brim smoke, he now has 2 left. And this is a problem for the plant because the Viper Orb is already down on the side of Superman, right? His orb has already been placed down. So you don't have anything to cover the plant if you smoke what people normally do, right? This is Supa's Viper Orb, by the way. That's the EG orb. And then the smokes come down. Not in time. Eggster is able to get the kill on Digison. Watch here, Heaven, right here, and then bang, smoke doesn't come down in time. They're scaling just a bit ahead of it, and then the other smoke comes out CT. Well, guess what? Your plant is completely open now, right? And they literally just play plant denial here. It's a 4v4. Bao tries to stick, can't, then waits. Okeanos gets killed by the Outlaw, and then you normally have a smoke or something to cover that plant, or at the very least teammates. But this time you have 2 teammates standing back here, no smoke, no orb, nothing to actually cover it. You don't use your body, so yeah, obviously you're going to end up losing this round, right? Calm, he's trying to play, he ends up just tap, oh, I can't, there's utility, tap, oh, I can't, there's people, and yeah, you can't do that. So this round just was a disaster for EG, to be quite honest. You really need to understand, especially on Bind, a map where planting is so important, what your plan is to get the bomb down. Because if you're running into a site with 4 people on it, and you can't smoke for your planter, that's going to be a pretty big issue. Now, on their next buy round, EG are going to take B long control, but take note of Calm's position here. This is going to be super important later in the round. Once they do actually come up long, Rossi spots the Jiggle. They do the thing we've, honestly, been seeing from almost every team running Awele, which is just the dash in, hinder, refract, someone else swings and gets the kill. Okeanos is able to do that, but Envy do an interesting, keep in mind, this is one of the first games played, so there's not a lot of footage on this, right? I think this was like the second match of this VCT season. Poppin just swings through, kills Oki, and now it's a 4v4. They come back and look at where Calm ends up positioning here. When they're going A, he's going to take this fight against Eggster. It's going to be in a second. This is effectively the round won or lost right here. I don't even mean that as any sort of hyperbole. If Calm's able to be a nuisance from this position, they're probably able to get bombed down and it's huge in the post plant. If Calm isn't able to, then not only do Envy have the numbers advantage, not even just the numbers advantage overall, but the numbers advantage on site, they also don't have to worry about a wrap from here. Eggster just flashes through into the molly, gets the kill onto Calm, and that is effectively the round, right? The smokes went down, I believe Inspire actually smoked for them, but they're just tapping, they're waiting, and the rest of Envy just kind of clean them out. All right there, Inspire does a great job, and Digison's Waylay ult does not go off. There have been a lot of instances this year of ults being expended like right before someone dies on Bind specifically, so that's just interesting, but let's move on. Now, despite the bad start, EG have won the last 6 of 7 rounds, including the pistol, and so with that, they're going to want to win, obviously, their buy round. Now, this round comes down to 2 things, a flash and someone just not really thinking straight. Now, You never want to let your opponent get the bomb down on an eco, ever, but especially on bind. It's so difficult to retake that their chances of getting the round shoot up drastically. They also shoot up drastically when Digizen, I love the guy, but Hookah has not been looked at, it has not been thought about, it has not been cleared. EG have done nothing for Hookah the entire round, and then he exposes himself to it when he peeks and dies to Kesnet. With that, Envy then make another really bright decision in, okay, we're not just going to sit here and sit back and wait for EG to come to us, we're going to take the fight to them. And then, do you remember when I mentioned that the round will come down to a flash? It's right here. Poppin has a perfect flash right here. They are lit up like Christmas trees. Okeanos kills Inspire. He was going to keep going. Not anymore. Full blind. I mean, Bao literally was just blind the whole time. He was Yoru cloning into a wall at that point. And the round is over. Kesnet also, if we 2x speed this, Kesnet goes all the way around to get the kill onto Calm, which I just think is beautiful, right? Superman dies, he had the weaker gun. Calm, he does some tomfoolery. By the way, this is the ugliest classic skin I think I've ever seen. Let me know in the comments what you guys think, because EG's classic skin is genuinely the ugliest I've ever... What is this? Disgusting. Ugh. But anyways, Kesnet thankfully rids that classic skin from the earth, if only for a moment. It's disgusting skin right there. But we'll move on. I truly have no words for what you're about to witness. It's a pretty standard B execute here from Envy, and I want to talk about two things before we get into the tomfoolery aspect. Number one is the smokes, bang, 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 default. Number two is Rossi not showing himself ends up having a huge impact later in the round. You'll see what I mean in a second. I think generally Vipers not showing themselves, even if they're not lurking, can be pretty cool. Also, this is a non-standard wall. I believe its first usage was Loud last year, ran it in a pistol round. I like using it. I'll use it on some rushes in Premiere. Now, for some reason, Okeanos, he dips from his hookah position and goes back out to play retake. That's fine. That's great. Good for you. All right, let's play retake, man. And then he just goes back out the smoke, trying to be a hero, trying to, catch a timing something. It doesn't work. He gets killed, and then immediately Superman also dies to Inspire, and the round is effectively over. It's a 5v3 retake. I mean, there is the fact that thankfully for EG, they get a chance because this ult was missed, but I want you to look. Again, I've talked about Rossi here. Now he's just holding flank. Brim is convinced. They haven't seen an orb. They haven't seen a molly. They have no idea where he is, so they're assuming he's on A, especially with this non-standard wall, that he's doing some tomfoolery with it. But with that, he's not. He's just chilling back here watching flank. The Brim ult doesn't catch anyone, but they are able to get a kill on sight. Kesnet dying there. I really still think this round wasn't winnable, but you have to try at 9-6. Inspire gets the kill onto the op, and at this point, the round is effectively over. They did have a funny moment that I want to show you at the end, though, where it's just Bao trying desperately to save the op, and he has one shot, one opportunity to seize everything you've ever wanted, bang, and then goes back with a shorty. I thought he was going to get both of these, didn't. Oh well, 10-6. But yeah, I don't know what Okeanos was doing. Also, I do apologize. While this is a non-standard Viper wall for Envy, it apparently is a pretty standard Viper wall. Everything I said still applies. I just didn't want you guys to think that whenever Envy used it, it wasn't normal, because apparently it is. Good for them. Their bind theory has been very off of meta, I think, and it's pretty cool to see it still work in tier 1 against teams like EG. Now, they fake towards A, but the important thing here is they have these embeds in B. So when Supa is now solo anchoring the B bomb site, even though he gets a kill, it was a double embed. So you still have someone over here. You don't have to worry, for example, about re-clearing long because, oh, EG could be here. No, they had a double lurk. They knew this is where they wanted to be. And also, Rossi, even though he dies, now can say, okay, there's no one long, right? Now, the issue becomes when you lose a 5v2. That's not great, and it's not going to cut it at any level. That's not going to cut it for my Premier team. If we lose a 5v2, I'm going to be up in arms. So let me tell you, my boys can tell you, I'll get a little fired up. I'll get a little upsetty spaghetti if we're losing 5v2s in Premier. On VCT, it is inexcusable, and most of it comes at the hands of Eggster, a guy who I think is not really... I'll say this, his fragging has been a welcome surprise when he does, but, especially in recent games, it's slowly started to taper off. Regardless, he clutches this round. I mean, it was one of the best clips thus far in the season. It was just a beautiful clip, bang, bang, and then he like, my favorite part of this clip is when he like has to pause to go spray the wall and then backs up and goes, yeah! He just has to take the 2-second pause. Regardless though, Envy are able to get that off the back of their double embed into the pivot onto the bomb site. EG have won the last 2 rounds off the back of a Potter timeout, and for a second there, it's looking like they might be able to stage a comeback. The guns for Envy aren't great, but they do have ults, and like I've said so many times before, as long as you have ults, every round is very winnable, and they do a wonderful job of utilizing them here. Knowing they have these closer range guns, they've got shotguns, they've got stingers, they've got specters, they pit right here. This pit is perfect because not only does it, for the moment, section Superman off from the rest of his team, they also have to make a choice. Either they go to Superman, going through all the gas and getting decayed to 1 HP when they don't know if anyone's in this area of the map, or they go straight in, still getting decayed by the gas, still getting taken to 1 HP. There's not really a good way to play around this, and the worst part is, EG don't have any ults of their own they can use to try and draw them out of the pit, right? If Com had one more orb and had the Fatal, this round might have been winnable. Instead, it is literal torture as EG all are forced to wrap around to the expecting eyes of Envy here. Even though they're doing all this, they end up getting ulted out. It was Kesneth that made that comm, by the way, to ult them right there. Game-winning comm right there, and their game is over. Thank you guys so much for watching. YouTube thinks you'll like these 2 videos, so go ahead and click on one of those. I'll see you guys next time. Remember to subscribe and take it easy. Peace.